Good evening. You are tuned into WRAS Atlanta and WRAS HD1 and HD2 Atlanta. This is Album 88. Tonight is the third installment in MTM Review, the show where we round up everything going on with Georgia State University's very own student-run record label, music distribution company, and sync house, MTM Standard. My name is Wesley Barrett, and I will be your host for tonight's show. Tonight's first guest will be none other than Jazzy Tha Rapper. Jazzy will be releasing her next single, titled Another, at midnight tonight. We also have a special pre-release airing of the song, so make sure to stay tuned. Afterward, our second guest will be Paisley Cass, lead project manager for MTM. She goes into detail about just what makes MTM work on the back end, anything from how it chooses artists to how it ties in with the record label operations class. Before we get into the core of the show, though, we have a couple housekeeping things to get out of the way first. First off, this program is produced in partnership with MTM Standard Music Group, Georgia State University's student-run record label and sync house. Some portions of this program may be graded schoolwork for students in the College of the Arts. Opinions expressed do not necessarily reflect those of Album 88 or the College of the Arts. For more information on our continued commitment to editorial independence in all of student media, please visit mtmstandard.com/WRAS. Also, side note, that link, mtmstandard.com/WRAS, can also be used to learn more about the show and re-listen to past episodes or episodes you may have missed. If you have any comments, questions, or concerns, you can always contact the station during business hours at 404-413-9727. That's 404-413-WRAS. Or with questions about this show specifically, you can send an email to me, Wesley Barrett, at wes7629@gmail.com. Once again, that email is wes7629@gmail.com. All right, with all of that out of the way, first off, we're going to be starting with MTM Happenings, a segment just about what's going on with MTM and what y'all out there can do to get on the bandwagon. First off, 2 weeks from today, on March 21st, will be the return of our Broad Street Boardwalk concert series. These take place right outside of Adderhold, where all those picnic chairs and restaurants are, and run from 12:30 to 2, roughly every other week or so. This performance in particular will include performances by Pablo Picasso, Juanita Jones, and Ferg Berserk. Second, our MTM Music Festival will be taking place on Friday, April 12th, at the GSU Carnival. This festival will feature all GSU artists and be the new live entertainment for the GSU Carnival that takes place each spring down by Turner Field. More details will be announced soon, so be sure to follow MTM's Instagram at MTM Standard GSU. With all of that out of the way, I think it's time to introduce our first guest on tonight's show. Tonight's guest is the absolute icon that is Jazzy Tha Rapper. Jazzy is a senior from Kennesaw, Georgia, and has already amassed tens of thousands of streams on many of her songs, including Big COCO, Toxic Traits, and Unsaved. Tonight at midnight, she'll be releasing her next single, Another, through MTM, which itself is the first single in her upcoming Big COCO project. Bryan Gallegos sat down with Jazzy to hear more.
Hey, welcome back to MTM Review with me, Bryan, and today's guest,
Jazzy Tha Rapper,
also known as Big COCO, man. So let's just get into it. So who are you and where are you from?
Well, my name is Jazzy. Was originally born in New York, but I was raised in Kennesaw, Georgia, and I've just been in Atlanta for a while.
Mm-hmm. So being raised in Kennesaw, what made you want to come to Georgia State?
I mean, Kennesaw is kind of in the sticks, and there's not really a lot going on when it comes to music. So when I was originally trying to pick a school, it was more so based off of, okay, I want to be in the city. This is where the music is. This was where everything is happening. So
did you come to Georgia State originally for music?
Yeah, well, it was originally for music business. When I first came, I started off in marketing because it was just, let me just do a business degree, get it out. But then they started the interdisciplinary studies course where you could do the media entrepreneurship. So I did that so I could pick all my courses and really do it based off my interest in the music industry.
Mm-hmm. So what made you want to do music, and how long have you been doing it for?
I love music. It's always been a part of my life. I started rapping back when I was 13. But I didn't really start performing until I was 17. And that's when I kind of came here and I joined a Panther Entertainment Group and really got like into the process of what it means to be a performer, what it means to be an artist and an independent artist. So it's been like a really cool experience to be able to go from dreaming about being an artist to like seeing actually what it takes and putting it into action.
Right. So, I mean, you mentioned that you started rapping at 13, but you also performed in around 17. When would you consider your actual start as a musician?
I would say like around like 13, because I was in chorus before and I started off singing, and then one of my friends, she recommended like, hey, like you got a good voice for just like rapping, so try rapping. And I got into it, started writing, started doing a whole bunch of other things, and it just came out as Jazzy Tha Rapper.
Nice.
Yeah.
How would you describe your current sound, and how has it changed since like your start like 7 years ago?
I would say when I first started, I did a lot more like boom bap rap. I did a lot more like jazz influenced tracks. I focused a lot on lyricism and just like I focused on the type of music I wanted to put out. But I would say now my sound is more commercial, just because I like more commercial music. Like I like dance music.
Right.
I like to vibe. I like to just chill and have a good time.
Of course.
So I make music that you can have a good time to, and so that people can relate to it. Yeah, whatever that means for them.
Of course. So what goes into your music currently? Like, what's the thought process behind it?
I do music a lot based on how I feel and just like my overall energy, or like I can think about a topic that I want to talk about that might have been like affecting me. Yeah, for example, like Big COCO. I was in a space of transformation and trying to figure out, okay, what does sexy me look like? What is like the most confident me look like? And what is that alter ego called? And just Big COCO came out.
Right,
So it's
formed.
like all of these different things and life experiences all come into the music, and it makes it easier for me to relate to people because it's just based off whatever my story is.
So besides using your feelings and how you feel at current moment to make your music, what are some other inspirations you use?
I like to travel a lot. So I like to use like going to different countries or just different cities and like seeing what their sound is and not necessarily imitating it, but just appreciating the different qualities in each music, because each style has different things. Like go-go, I just went to DC recently and it was so cool to hear, like I've heard people talk about go-go, but I've never really heard it. And to hear that it's like it's a live band, lots of drums, very like energetic and kind of sporadic, but not really. But like seeing like a whole community of people know this music and enjoy this music, it's like it's very interesting. And I like that aspect of it. I like to see people's reactions to music. And I feel like that's very inspiring to my process, because it makes me make music from a more how is it gonna make the listener feel when they listen to my music.
Right. What artists have inspired you in your music?
I would say like my biggest inspirations have been like Erykah Badu, Jay-Z, Rihanna, Nicki Minaj, even though she's been acting crazy recently, but
Bless her.
it's just unfortunate. But those have been my biggest influences. And then like Missy Elliott, of course. Like I feel like each person has their different qualities, not only in their music, but also like in their business. I like admire that a lot, especially in Rihanna, because she did the whole music thing, and then she did Fenty, and she's been doing Fenty and Puma and all those other things. And I feel like though being able to transfer, being able to be an artist, but also being able to be a brand and a personality and a business owner is like really important in the longevity of your stamp.
Of course. And would you want to create a brand eventually yourself?
No, of course. Like I want to dive into fashion. I want to dive into like I'm a model now, but I want to just dive into being able to make a mark outside of music. I want to get into movies eventually. I want to get into like producing music videos that people look back at and they're like, "Oh, that's so cool." So I have so many ideas, but you know, I got to take it step by step.
Oh, of course, yeah. You don't want to like overwhelm yourself.
No, not at all, because I'd be like,
What's the who do you say like is your audience? Who do you make your music for?
the girls and the gays.
That's real.
Like I feel like there's guys who listen to my music and like who really vibe with it and everything, but I feel like the people who relate to my music the most are like the girls and the gays. Like, but I feel like I also make relatable music for everybody to just feel confident and to just feel like themselves. Whether or not you like relate to everything that I'm saying, it's like there's always like an underlining message. Like I had a song called Diamond Pressure, and it was pretty much about working too hard and being broke but not for real, like, and just kind of like, okay, I know you got pressure on you, but you're a diamond, so chill, like you good. But like that can relate to anybody, and I feel like, yes, I make one type of music, but I make very versatile music, so anybody can listen for real.
Of course. And what's like the messaging behind your music?
I like to talk about things that are not necessarily dark or anything, but I like to talk about things that are like struggles for me. But also I like to talk about like overcoming those struggles in the music, but over like a fun beat, because that's how people vibe. Like I feel like Afro beats does it a lot, where the beat is super fun, everybody's dancing, but they're talking about like, oh, I'm so happy I made it through whatever my struggle was, da-da-da-da. And like, that's the style. And I feel like that resonates a lot with me, because I feel like words are really powerful and you can manifest your life, because essentially like your perception is your reality. So if you're consistently perceiving yourself as being that person, being that star, whatever you want to be, of course it's going to happen, because that's now your reality, because that's what you're perceiving. So I feel like it's good to use my words in a positive way that like relates to me, so that as I move forward, when I look back, it's like, oh, I spoke these things into existence because I essentially became what I wanted to be.
Right. So, I mean, earlier you mentioned being essentially vulnerable in your music, and you do that a lot, especially in your 2020 EP, Baby Girl, in which you open about your sexuality with rock, and you use toxic traits as a form of healing from the passing of your brother, and other mental anguishes you faced. What made you want to open up to that specific degree in that album?
I was going through a lot during that time. Like my brother, he had passed in 2018, and that was my fall 2017. My brother passed January 31st, 2018. So like the beginning of my second semester in college period. So I kind of like downward spiraled real bad. And during that time, I was working nonstop. I was just, I felt like there was no peace in my head, and there was no like time for me to really relax. And Baby Girl was like a way for me to kind of show these changes in myself, from being someone, from coming fresh out of high school to 2 years later, like having a completely different experience, having a completely different mindset, and like being completely drained from everything that was going on. So Baby Girl was just like a love letter to myself, but also a love letter to like people who are growing up and having those pains of growing up, no matter what it is, because it's so hard to essentially like be in school. It's hard to be young. It like, and people just expect you to take it a certain way, but it's like, no, like stuff is changing constantly. And like we are constantly having to figure out what is changing. We're constantly having to figure out, okay, your way is not working for me. How am I supposed to make it my way? You're constantly having to figure out, like, was I traumatized? Like, right. You're having to think of those things. Like, and that doesn't happen until you come to a realization of yourself, until you become present. And Baby Girl was just like my time to be present.
Right. You mentioned earlier about branding, and you want to expand like movies and whatnot.
Yeah.
From what I've seen of your work, you have this innate sense of creativity, especially when it comes to Baby Girl. You made this 5-episode series. How did that come to be?
I had been wanting to do Baby Girl for a while, and at the time, like I was with Panther Entertainment Group, now NSEG, and it was like the beginning of that whole, like the whole era of CMI. So we had a lot of like access to resources. We had a lot of access to the studio and just everything. Like we were just living in the studio at that point. And it was just so cool to be collaborative with like my community. And during that time, we just kind of came up with the idea, let's do a promo series. And there's a story behind like how we actually like wrote everything down.
Oh yeah.
So I was in CMI. I had parked in, you know, that parking deck that's over by Walters. I parked in there, left my car in there too late. They closed the door on me. I walked all the way to the door and was like, oh my God, I can't get my car out. I go back to CMI. I get inside, and one of my friends, Curtis, he was there. And I was like, I can't get home because, mind you, I live in Kennesaw.
Oof.
So there was no way I was taking an Uber. It was already late. I was like, I'm just sleeping in CMI today.
Right.
So that's what I did. I went in CMI. Curtis was there, and he was just like, you know what? We've been talking about working on the baby girl script. Let's work on it now.
Let's lock in.
Literally. So we worked on all 5 episodes, started reaching out to people, seeing if they're down to do it. And like got it all planned out that night. Just doing like an all-nighter, drinking Red Bulls in the middle of the CMI on the 2nd floor. Like it was an experience.
And what were you trying to say with the series? And is it any different from like the messaging in the album?
So for Baby Girl, it was more so to create like the space for the character of Baby Girl, to create this space of like, she's in this RV just kind of doing her, but then there's people coming in and out that are like a part of her life, but we really kind of only see her here. And it's just kind of about like people being in and out, but you're always going to have yourself, and you'll have to grow within yourself. Like it doesn't matter what all is going on, but at the end of the day, you have to be centered with you. So that's what the main focus of it was, like, especially towards the end with like the final track, Baby Girl. But yeah, I just wanted it to be a fun, kind of interactive way for people to like lock in with the series.
No, yeah, I loved it. It was amazing.
Thank you.
And do you see yourself doing like something similar with any future projects?
Yeah, I definitely want to do it with like this next project, Big COCO. I want to do something because like Big COCO is like a completely different type of character. So I like world building around like whatever I want to world build around. And I feel like Big COCO is going to be like a really fun, extravagant, boisterous time. I want to do like some similar clips, but also like taking more advantage of like music videos and visuals to create this character that is like Big COCO, like larger than life, you know?
And you mentioned earlier that Big COCO is like, it comes from the feeling of feeling good within yourself, you know, sexy and whatnot. Can you touch a little bit more about that? Like, what's the story behind Big COCO?
Yeah, so like Big COCO, it kind of started off as like an alter ego. I went to the Dominican Republic for my 22nd birthday. I had just quit my job and I was starting a new one. And like my previous job was like really toxic work environment, really like bringing me down. But I was ready to kind of start anew. So I did like a solo trip to the DR. And there, it was like the first time I'd really just allowed myself to just be a little bit. Like I felt sexy, I felt good. Like I wasn't like doing a lot there, but I just felt really like, oh, this is what it feels like to just kind of step into myself, to like not want to hide away from people, because I've always been thick. I've always been somebody a little curvier. And since I was like in middle school, people have always been like, oh, you're so thick. Oh, this is this. Oh, this is that. And then like I've always had interactions with older men trying to talk to me, just people in my face just because of like my body type. So I used to try to hide it. I used to like hide my figure. I used to kind of like sheep away from people just because I didn't want that interaction with them. And during that process of Big COCO, it became like, why am I sheeping away from these people? Like, what am I looking down for? Like, why am I not creating space for myself? And it was like the first time I really decided, like, I'm going to do this trip to create space for myself, to be me. And it was cool. And then going from that, it just turned into like this constant process of what makes me feel sexy. Okay, how do I represent that within Big COCO? How do I represent that with the type of woman that I want to be in the future? And I just kind of started envisioning that for me and then envisioning that for the character. But it kind of all comes together because it's just like, I want to be more confident. And I feel like since then, I've been a much different version of myself.
Did you expect it to blow up as much as it did?
Yes and no. Big COCO was my first like management contract that I signed, for it was just for the single, but it was like the way it happened was so like on timing because like me and my manager we went to LA to do a show, and she had like an uncle out there, and she went to go hang out with him, and I was about to go like run around the city. I was about to get on a bus and just like explore, like it's LA, like I was gonna find something to do. But she was like, "Oh, my uncle wants you to come out with us," and then it turned out that like her uncle like worked for this other company, like he owned it, and he was just like, "Let me listen to your music, let me hear what you got going on." And I played him the track. He was just like, "I like it, so I'll give you guys $5,000 and y'all can make the video and we'll promote it." I was like, okay. Like, right. So it happened like that. Like I wanted Big COCO to be like really, really big, and I feel like it was definitely a step in the right direction. And it put into perspective the fact that like a lot of these labels and a lot of these like companies, they're not going to tell you to do anything outside of what you're going to learn in school or what they're going to tell you like the process of the music industry is. The process is all the same. It's just a matter of how much money you have to put into it versus how much money you don't. And like where do your resources lie?
Since you're involved in so many fields like modeling for Champion and just modeling in general, music, of course, and just being a general creative, when you wake up in the morning, what do you think of yourself as first?
I'm a creator. And I think I've been having this mental kind of turmoil about this like recently, like within the last couple of weeks, because I really don't know. I love creating. I love making music. I love modeling. I like to travel, monetize just doing me. And I think a creator is like the easiest way for me to like blanket statement everything. But I just like to be able to have my hands in everything. Oh yeah. So yeah, I'm a creator.
Jazzy the creator.
Jazzy the creator. I've been thinking about changing the name, but I'm not sure yet.
Right.
Right.
So you have your project Another coming out tomorrow. Yes. What was that one about?
Another is it's part of the Big COCO project. It's the first single off of it. And it's really about becoming more comfortable with flirting and asking for what I want. During the time I was writing it, I was referencing this like bisexual awakening that I had. And it was like, oh, okay, I was getting more into, okay, I don't just like guys, I like girls too. And then kind of getting comfortable with like not only just like having girlfriends, but like talking to girls and like flirting with girls. And the song was dedicated to a girl I was flirting with for a summer. So like, I'm never going to tell her it's a song about her, but it's
no, summer flings, man.
No, right. But it's a banger, y'all.
Right, no, yeah.
Yeah, that's really, it's just a little flirty bisexual ting.
So what's in the horizon for Big COCO?
For Big COCO, there's another single coming out. Not too much details on that, but it's a much more like upbeat songs, very much like dancey, ready to have the girls popping their backs all summer. Like that's the types of vibes I'm going for, and it's gonna be fun. I plan to have a good time this summer when it comes to music, and I want to like cultivate people having a good time. So got a little flirty got a little flirty song after it, and hopefully the project in the fall.
So what about yourself? Like what's new? What's gonna be new for you?
Man, I graduate in May, and that's gonna be cool. I can't wait because I've been in here forever. I'm doing a lot more traveling this year. I'm walking in Fashion Week in September. Very excited about that. I'm just deep diving into like all of the things that I feel like I like and I do already, and I want to figure out how to make them more a part of my career in a way that's like financial. So that's where I'm at now. I'm just excited to try things and make it work.
Right. So as we wrap up, where can we find you on social media?
Y'all can follow me on social media. On Instagram, I'm always on there for Jazzy Tha Rapper, JAZZYTHA Rapper. And then Twitter, same thing, just add an extra R. Same thing for TikTok. Same thing for YouTube.
All right. Is there anyone you'd like to thank or just any shout outs?
I'd like to thank my manager. Shout out MTM Standard. Shout out Flower Child for producing Another. Super dope. Shout out Vlad for recording it. Shout out Loki AD for mixing and mastering it. Just shout out everybody who's been involved in my process. I love you guys. You guys are awesome. Yeah.
All right. Nice. Thank you for coming. This has been MTM Review with me, Bryan, and our guest,
Jazzy Tha Rapper.
This is MTM Review on album 88. If you're just now tuning in, what you just heard was an interview with GSU hip-hop artist Jazzy Tha Rapper, who will be releasing her single, Another, through MTM tonight at midnight. We actually have a very special pre-release airing of the song coming up in a minute. If you'd like to pre-save the single, go on over to Jazzy's Instagram at Jazzy Tha Rapper. Without further ado, here is Another by Jazzy Tha Rapper.
See? I'm a smooth, melt in your mouth type of slow biter. You big poppy, baby, let me try to low rider. Oh, you like COCO, what you know about her? Them big bites might get you the big flights, mama. Summers, spinning, drowning in some chocolate water. Take me to Benny Hannes, eat it up and treat it proper. Baby, what you on? Put a little pressure on you just to treat you wrong. Talk about some 50 songs. Never see it or forget it if you fit me wrong. Because I'm quick, be gone so long. I be yours, come on. Vamonos, I'm tryna put you in my cardio. A close body show, bring your body close. Just out in the open, keep it going. Sweat got you soaking, smoke got you choking. But why are you holding back like that? You look like you wanna know what's up inside my COCO. Cause I picked you out here peeping like you want another. You ain't gotta stay, just wanna play without the shaded covers. Just to get another, and another, and another. And a little greedy sometimes I might add. Caught up equations, yeah, that's just mad. And it's been a million times I felt bad. But that's bad like bad, spell PH. Only need to sip, hell nah, getting V8. 9, 10, 11, now it's 12, don't be late. This predate, right before we hit the dance floor, code DJ. Got to keep it in the game, there's no EA. I ain't mad now, I ain't mad then. It's a past tense, hit the back end, right behind your back end. And your hips doing everything you asked them. I don't even like the club cause I was dragged in. Now I'm tryna get up on you like your fashion. Is that Prada, Christian Dior, or Steve Madden? Gina, let me get to the crib like what's happening? You look like you wanna know what's up inside my COCO. But I'm peeking cause I picked you out here peeping like you want another. You ain't gotta stay, just wanna play without the shaded covers. Just to get another, and another, and another, and What's my name, Big Go? Why did it look so fast? Why did it move like that? Wanna see it go Big Go? Why did it look so fast? Why did it move like that? Wanna see it go Man, take me out to Tokyo. If he ain't broke, he always said he like to go to India. Like Henny Darky, he hit me up until he feel like I'm his favorite cereal. He said you cuckoo, baby boy, you never had a COCO puff. I never seen it, kept the crutch. Just tryna see that nutty bitch. You tryna be my honey crunch, but you ain't munching, munch. They should take your ass to the dungeon, dun. We ain't going out if you ain't funding, fun. Hex plankton, 1 ton. See with my third eye, now we undone. Laughing at the flowers outside till the sun come. We don't be the fool, gon' be waiting till the sun come. Gon' be waiting till the sun come. Daycare, playground, recess, then some. I ain't gotta play with the kids like, what's your name? What's your name? What's your name? Big Go. Why did it look so fast? Why did it move like that? Wanna see it go Big Go. Why did it look so fast? Why did it move like that? Wanna see it go Got this jelly on me, don't jam it, shake that bake. And I'm gonna come taste this cake, okay? If you do it, don't stay too late. Got a meeting that start by 8, big baby, slow down, roll now. I talk cause I walk like they boots on my legs and they call me up cause I pop right back. I shake the table low, but they cut the lights out. They wondering how could I act like that? Pay way too much for these jeans, still busting out seams, still hopping out caddies and beans. They like what they sing, so they can't help what they cheering for. All they can hear is Big Go. Why Smoked all night, just blowing dank. Mama called my phone, daddy stayed up late, pulling me both ways. Toxic traits, these my toxic traits. I wish he was my hubby then. Fall into this cuddy when think about it later, and I never call that boy again. See, it's sad, but I don't feel like loving, so I fall into my bag, son. They don't feel like hugging, so it's all about my I ain't mad, but I'm living fast, so I'm scared to crash. With my parents looking at me, it almost made me laugh, but it had me feeling bad. Talking like, girl, you the first child. Know your brother coon, but you gotta do the work now. Every time you cry, I don't know, it's getting worse now. Every time I hide, it's always like I'll be the first found. And I'm tired of playing games with these make that make your lips pucker, your blood sucker. Still I'm feeling like a whole other with no butter. It ain't smooth how I'm dealing with what I'm going through. With my toxic traits, I drink all day, smoked all night, just blowing tank. Mama called my phone, daddy stayed up late, pulling me both ways. Toxic traits, these my toxic traits. I drink all day, smoked all night, just blowing tank. Mama called my phone, daddy stayed up late, pulling me both ways. Toxic traits. I think it's hard to focus and go unnoticed. I say I'm screaming, you think I'm joking. I'm at my lowest and still I'm chosen, but now I'm hoping that I ain't gotta stare up at my ceiling fan. Thinking about my money spent, thinking about that text back, thinking about neglected friends, thinking about how I be working just to pay the government, thinking about that homework I might never do again, thinking about all of the long nights and the long fights, change the long flights in the bright light with the phone that fit my palm right, and it's all hype, but that fit my thumb right, but it's still tight, but I guess it's gonna be alright. Such a sore sight, that's might with my toxic traits. I drink all day, smoked all night, blowing tank. Mama called my phone, daddy stayed up late, pulling me both ways. Toxic traits, these my toxic traits. I drink all day, smoked all night, blowing tank. Mama called my phone, daddy stayed up late, pulling me both ways. Toxic traits, these my toxic traits. These my toxic traits. Let me tell you about my toxic traits.
Welcome back to MTM Review on album 88. What you just heard was Another, Big COCO, and Toxic Traits by Jazzy Tha Rapper. If you like what you heard, the first of those songs, Another, is releasing tonight at midnight. You can pre-save the song over at Jazzy's Instagram at Jazzy Tha Rapper. As always, with any comments, questions, or concerns, you can call the station during business hours at 404-413-9727 or 404-413-WRAS. Or, if you'd like to contact this show specifically, you can email me at wes7629@gmail.com. Again, that email is wes7629@gmail.com. All right, our next guest tonight is MTM Standard's lead project manager, Paisley Cass. Paisley is a senior in the music technology program from Kennesaw, Georgia, and has been with MTM for quite a while. Last fall, she served as the A&R director for MTM and brought on a lot of the artists releasing through MTM today. And this semester, Paisley moved up to managing all of the different artist teams and releases that come out through MTM. Bryan Gallegos has more from Paisley.
Hey, welcome back to MTM Review. I'm Bryan, and I'm here with
Paisley Cass.
So let's just get started. So who are you and where are you from?
My name is Paisley. I am a super senior, and I grew up in Kennesaw, Georgia.
Whoop, whoop. So why did you come to Georgia State?
Being from a college town, I knew that I didn't want to go to school at home. I think like college is a person's first foray into like what real life is like, and I knew that I wanted the rest of my life to be way more exciting than what I had grown up with. And luckily, Kennesaw State didn't have my major, And actually, Georgia State doesn't anymore. I came in as a music technology major, and because our industry and our program has just grown so much, it has been dissolved into the music industry program, where our two options are music management and music production and audio recording. So I'm like the last of the music tech majors.
Wow, the last of the tribe, basically.
Right.
So was there any reason you chose like Atlanta specifically?
I just grew up in the metro.
Mm-hmm.
I knew this is where I wanted to be. I wanted to go to a really big and a really diverse school.
Right.
My mom went to UGA, big school, but not necessarily diverse.
Yeah, not very diverse over there.
And my brother went to Auburn, and I just knew I didn't want to go out of state. Atlanta is where I needed to be.
Of course. So how did you become involved with music?
My public school education was my first introduction to classical or a more traditional music training. I started in middle school orchestra playing the viola. And that was wholly like the catalyst into me wanting to pursue music. And sixth grade orchestra also ran in conjunction with my middle school emo phase. And I wholly attribute all of my songwriting pursuits and just like my fiery passion for music to emo and punk music.
So how did you come about MTM?
After the pandemic, I felt extremely like disconnected from the School of Music. I started in 2018, so I had a very quote unquote normal freshman experience, and the School of Music was less than 300 people at that time. So I was experiencing what most freshmen experience of seeing the same 20 to 30 people for multiple hours a day, 5-6 days out of the week. So then the pandemic happened and we come back to school, and I just felt extremely distanced and sterile. And I mentioned my brother earlier. When he went to college, he was very involved in his campus. He's an engineer, so he was the president of an engineering society. He was like a campus tour guide. And as the youngest sibling, he was like the blueprint of what you need to do in college. Yeah. And I knew I wanted to get involved somehow. And that's how I came across both Music Society and MTM. If I was going to be involved, it needed to be something I was extremely passionate about.
And music is what you're extremely passionate about.
Exactly.
So can you describe what the director of A&R is and what is it like?
Okay, so an A&R acts like a liaison between like all the talent that exists in the world, from professionals, from students, from hobbyists, and connects them to the music industry so the industry can connect them with people who want to consume their music. So being director of A&R means I lead a team of people who have their ears to the streets, who know, it's Atlanta, everybody knows somebody who makes music. So people who have the discernment to know what is super consumable and what would really resonate with people, and I make sure that they are where they need to be in order to discover that talent.
And you did that last semester for MTM?
Yes.
And how was that experience?
It was, at first, really intimidating. Of course, trying anything new for the first time, the way you learn best is kind of just jumping into it and figuring it out as you go. So being in charge of a team of A&Rs when we're all doing it for the first time and learning how we work with each other and what scenes get the best results in terms of like music genre and Georgia State affiliation. But I'm so glad I did it because most often the most rewarding experiences are the most challenging.
So what's your current role?
My current role is lead project manager for MTM Standard.
What goes into being a lead project manager?
My interpretation of lead project manager includes creating the structures and systems needed for the teams behind the artist to work collaboratively and efficiently. So I draft documents and timelines and other resources that can empower each team member behind an artist to make sure their strengths are being contributed. And additionally, it's being in the know of where every project is at. A record label succeeds best when their releases are staggered. Like some independent labels like to do one big drop where like all 10 of their artists do one drop on one day. Like I think of Lyrical Lemonade when they're doing that, like a collaboration album. But in terms of MTM Standard, because primarily we have single releases, we stagger them. So everybody's on a different 6-week timeline. And it's crucial that somebody knows where each team is at all times.
Right. So you oversee everybody.
Yes.
In that sense. Does it get overwhelming at times?
Oh, of course.
Right.
Communication and clarification is like the most recurring functions of my role. So like checking in with people, explaining what needs to be done, and most often editing and refining what needs to be done because I'm working with a team of 40, 50 people overall, and each team is about 10 people. Everybody has a different learning style. Everybody interprets language in their own way. So I think of the idiom of more than one way to skin a cat. You have to find many different ways to communicate the same idea to different people.
So, you mentioned it gets overwhelming. I imagine it gets draining. How do you like combat that throughout your role?
Misery loves company. I
Real.
joke. There's something really humanizing about a group of students, especially like-minded individuals, kind of like hustling together for one goal. it's comforting. I don't know any other way to say it, because the music industry in itself, it's a very personal industry. Like, it's all about who you know, how you know them, how you can expand on maybe like your personal relationships and translating it to a professional setting.
Right.
So that's a huge way I combat it, and also being involved in the underground music scene in Atlanta,
Oh, it's amazing.
because it used to keep me really confined of only wanting to like interact with musicians who are pursuing music on a collegiate level. And it wasn't until like recently that I realized what a privilege it is to do so. Like, not everybody has parents who support them pursuing music professionally. Not a lot of people have the confidence to pursue music professionally. So really expanding your mind to people who are maybe hobbyists or do it on the side, that does not negate their talent or their passion. So really including myself with all musicians, not just ones who are collegiate or professional.
Right. So how does it look like working with an artist or whoever else that falls under your jurisdiction? Like, what's the day-to-day looking like?
The day-to-day. We, in the School of Music, we are huge fans of WhatsApp for some ungodly reason. So within our WhatsApp, each team has a group chat that the artist is included on. So when we bring on an artist to release through MTM, they get their own team, and their team is assigned a team lead. That team lead is in charge of assessing their talent pool within, like, internally, to assign roles that best fit the individual strengths and how they can contribute to like launch padding another artist's career. Let's say I get a team of 10 people and like 2 people are so passionate about marketing. Those people are going to get together and work on like digital marketing and like street team. Or I have somebody who is not super strong on the executive side of music, but is like the sickest bassist that has ever walked the face of the earth. If this artist needs, when this artist has a live performance that needs to be booked, or maybe they have a demo track that needs to be tracked further, that's where that session musician would come in. It's really just assessing and taking advantage of the talent that we already have directly in front of us.
So you look at an artist and you assign them like who they need and what they need?
Exactly.
Okay, nice. So tell me about the Music Society and your role in it.
Okay. Music Society is a campus-wide music appreciation organization that was founded in 2021 with the main goal of creating connections, community, and change through music, and I am the president. Despite Music Society having over 250 members, in terms of like the executive board and leadership, it was like crickets. There's 4 people besides myself, and nobody really wanted to take over the president role when the previous president had graduated. And I like things that are alliterative to Paisley, so I figured, sure, I'll be president. President Paisley, it sounds phenomenal. And stepping up to the plate, taking over a role that like I had never done before was a very daunting idea. But I really wanted to be the link in the chain of connecting people who have an interest of music, which is pretty much everybody on the planet, and people who are in the music industry. No gatekeeping. Music is accessible for everybody, and I wanted to be a part of that.
So did you do that after director of A&R, or was this at
I
the
am
same
still
time?
president of Music Society.
Okay. And do you feel like, because you said it's like connecting people, do you feel like you still use those skills from being director of A&R in your being president of Music Society?
Oh, 10,000%. The most recent initiative we did with Music Society was, I noticed in our group chat, people who are in their various majors that we have at Georgia State, like in STEM, in business or whatever, they would be in the group chat, be like, I'm a producer and I'm looking for this type of voice or this type of collaborator. And they would just kind of be going off in a group chat of 250 people. It got really unorganized. So I made a Google form and a spreadsheet of everybody who makes music, who wants to be a part of music, to put what they do, what they're interested in, so they can all contact each other a lot easier.
And that's what just Music Society is about, just music and music lovers and whatnot?
Exactly.
Nice. Does your previous experience with music, such as A&R director and president of Music Society, those past experiences currently serve you as lead project manager?
Oh, most definitely. In terms of just my network has expanded more than I could like ever imagine. Across departments, within the School of Music, it's always good to know somebody for the job when you feel like you are not adequate enough for the job. And then furthermore, it really gave me the confidence to implement structure. When leading a team of people, it's not necessarily that they're looking to you for instructions, but looking to you to make sure that everything is like calm and okay.
Mm-hmm.
Like I used to work with children, and one of the things that they tell you is that like when a kid face plants and like really injures themselves, you don't react, because if you panic, then they'll panic,
Mm-hmm.
and that's a lot what being lead project manager in any leadership role is. As long
Right.
as you keep a level head, the team has a level head.
Mm-hmm. So what would you say is like the hardest part of being the lead project manager?
Adapting to accommodate everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, I want to make the most like inclusive environment as possible, and in order to do that, I found a lot of importance in ensuring that people feel like seen and heard and safe at that, because you don't necessarily feel encouraged to speak out if the environment is tense,
Mm-hmm.
or if you feel like your perspective isn't being honored on the off chance that you do mutter something. So that is the hardest part, making sure that everybody feels like they matter, they contribute something, and that they're playing into their strengths, because nobody wants to do work that's not in like their strongest suit. You
Right.
know?
So you mentioned about, people feeling not seen and heard, and it's your job to make them feel better. How do you go about that? What do you say to that artist or part of that group to make them feel better?
Something that happens, especially as a woman, is when the girls are sitting in a corner and we have very strong opinions that aren't being projected.
Mm-hmm.
I will say it loudest to the whole group. And when the whole group starts to agree with that idea, I go, okay, well, this person said it. I just said it louder. So let's
Nice.
clap for them. Go.
Mm-hmm.
And making sure that everybody's on the same page, because we're all in college, like we're all on the same level. Even though there is a vast age range, we're all learning and paying tuition. So
Yeah.
I take that into consideration when making sure that people's voices are heard.
Right.
Even if they feel like it's a silly idea or a redundant idea, if they open their mouths to speak, I am so attentive to make sure that the whole group hears it.
Mm-hmm. Well, so, you just mentioned the hardest part. What would you say is like the easiest part of being lead project manager?
Connections.
Mm-hmm.
So while I do find a lot of difficulties in accommodating everybody, just the natural human connection that comes across from common interests is the easiest part. I feel like visually, I'm not really read in the ways that that align with what music I listen to.
Mm-hmm.
And the only way that can be discovered is by talking to people.
Right.
Yeah.
So what type of music do you listen to?
Oh, I'm so emo.
Really?
I am aggressively emo.
Right.
But this is a radio podcast. I'm wearing hot pink.
Right. All right. So like, what are some of those emo songs that you listen to, or artists rather?
I have had a resurgence of like Tumblr era rock music.
Mm-hmm.
Anything that dropped in 2013, I've been bumping.
Really?
So Cage the Elephant's Melophobia,
Mm-hmm.
AM from Arctic Monkeys. Our director is obsessed with that producer, Chad
Mm-hmm.
Blake. And so I've been listening to a lot of that recently. But more classics, I will play Black Parade until the day that I die.
Yeah. Just banger.
Banger
Yeah.
after banger.
Right. I might be a little lame, little 21 Pilots fan here and there. You know what I mean?
I can't believe you admitted that on
I
tape.
know. God. So what would you say to like a student who is hesitant to joining MTM or any music department at Georgia State?
Being uncomfortable is how you grow.
Mm-hmm.
It is really intimidating because you can't be cool and learn at the same time. Those things just like don't exist. As you are stumbling and moving forward, it is inevitable that you're going to look a little goofy. But I find a lot of solace in knowing that like everybody is goofy at one point.
Right.
Everybody that you look up to wasn't that overnight. Even the people who have natural inclinations, I imagine it took some tries for them to find that natural inclination. So don't be afraid to look goofy. Don't be afraid to look dumb.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to go as far as to say as there are no stupid questions, but wouldn't you rather have the confirmation that your question is stupid than not have the answer ever?
Right. Mm-hmm.
So
Could you share any like experiences of like, let's say you stumbling and then actually learning?
I am not the strongest engineer in
Mhm.
our program, and I broke my arm when we finally got into the studio, so I wasn't also a super functional engineer either. So I felt really insecure about essentially going to college with the goal of being an audio engineer and not knowing my way around a studio at all. So in class, when there's like 30 of us packed into a studio, I was really embarrassed to speak up and be like, hey, can you actually like do that again? How does signal flow work? What is a patch bay? And once I miraculously got studio access, even with a broken arm, sitting in on sessions of my peers who just know way more was a humbling experience, but something that needed to happen. You have to make individual learning opportunities for yourself, especially in a group classroom setting. So that was my foray into like looking really goofy, having songs that I am so proud of, like musically be amazing, and tracking them and have them sound like I recorded it into a DSI.
Nice.
So
I mean, as we wrap up, so where can we find you on social media and whatnot?
my Instagram is Paisley_printed, and my songwriting TikTok is I'm Paisley.
Mm-hmm. And what about all the other organizations that you're in, such as Music Society?
Music Society _GSU, MTM Standard GSU on Instagram.
Whoop, whoop. Do you have anyone you would like to shout out or just give thanks to?
Shout out to WRAS. Support your college radio station and your local radio stations.
Album 88.
Album 88. Shout out to Wes, because as I mentioned, he is helping me polish probably one of my favorite songs that I've written in a minute.
Nice.
And shout out to Jazzy Tha Rapper, who is our latest MTM
Big
release.
COCO.
Yeah, stream Another on all DSPs now.
Well, thank you for joining us. This has been Bryan with MTM and
Paisley.
Whoop, whoop.
Whoop, whoop.
Your love bomb to end your love bomb. 3, 2, 1. Now I got your love bomb. Want your love bomb to end your love bomb.
I get the feeling that you never keep receipts. Caught you swimming in the bag, so you act like it's all free.
Why don't you?
Take me on holiday, buy me new Versace, and in return I can be anything I wanna be.
Want your love bomb to end your love bomb. 3, 2, 1. Now I got your love bomb. Want your love bomb to end your love bomb. 3, 2, 1. Now I got your love bomb.
I love it when the bass line hits on your face is the throne where I'm gonna sit. If it's cool with your man, I'm gonna ride with you, but you better scream my name when he you. Spicy like I eat, getting everything for free. Juanita, the new mommy, cause I'm daddy's new trophy. I'm
Want your love bomb to end your love bomb. 3, 2, 1. Now I got your love bomb. Want your love bomb to end your love bomb. 3, 2, 1. Now I got your love bomb.
daddy's new daddy, daddy's new daddy, daddy's new daddy, daddy's new trophy.
You're sitting all composed, unexposed, hoping no one knows. Well, eyes behind your eyes, something no one else could recognize. You don't have to hide, you're just like mine. You can show your bones, show your bones. Don't be scared, you can't be compared. I'll follow you anywhere. We could be lovers, you never tear. Something sung about that's never there. You don't have to hide, you're just like mine. You can show your bones, show your bones.
The truth.
It's NiaKionna.
Yeah.
The truth.
Cannot touch this level, it's inherited. Tried to hop on top my wave and drown out, that's embarrassing. Trying to get a bag, got these haters mad. Walked up in your mama house and might have took your dad. Cause I'm FLY, yeah. Pretty young and I'm fly, yeah. Walked up in the room, the whole atmosphere changed. Looked him in the eye and now he wanna know my name. I told him FYI, I'm 21 and I'm fly. Cause I'm electric, sliding on the beat like it's a fetish. If you want it, then you like it, yeah, you get it. Riding on the beat cause I'm addicted, yeah, it's a fetish. Cause I'm electric. For my number, told him 911. Cause you gon' need help if you think you gon' run. Games on the player cause a player don't play. Boy, sit down, you can't even get my name. Cause I'm electric, sliding on the beat like it's a fetish. If you want it, then you like it, yeah, you still couldn't buy me a drink. Don't know what you thought this was, but you ain't T-Pain. I put a song together for all the Libras. And if your girl's no fun, then you can keep her. Cause I'm electric. You see me in your dreams cause you obsessed with this energy, you know it's magnetic. You got a taste and now you addicted. Yeah, you invested, cause I'm electric. Yeah, that's right. That girl. Yeah, 21.
Go girl, it's your birthday. Hands up, 21, cause it's your birthday. Girl, it's your birthday. Hands up, 21, cause it's your birthday.
What you just heard here on MTM Review on album 88 was Lovebomb by Juanita Jones, Show Your Bones by KelseyDog, and Electric 21 by NiaKionna. If that last name sounded familiar, NiaKionna was actually in rotation with her song More for a while last fall here at album 88. All three are artists here at GSU. Juanita Jones can be found on Instagram at TrophyBoyJuanita, KelseyDog can be found at KelseyDog_, and NiaKionna at NiaKionna. That's Nia, Kionna. As always, with any comments, questions, or concerns, you can call the station during business hours at 404-413-9727. That's 404-413-WRAS. Or if you would like to contact this show specifically, you can email me at wes7629@gmail.com. Again, that email is wes7629@gmail.com. That about wraps it up for this week's show. While it's been 3 weeks since the last show, we'll be back to our normal bi-weekly schedule for the rest of the semester, which means our next show will be in only 2 weeks. That show will feature interviews with Texan-born country artist Kaylin Cadenhead, as well as with booking director Erica Bacon. For this episode, our producer, editor, and host is Wesley Barrett. Our journalist is Bryan Gallegos. Our engineers are Alex Ergus and Charmaine Rhodes. Our opening theme music was Determination by Jonathan Tanksley. Our closing theme music is Fall For You by Cameron Cho, both of which are GSU artists. This program is produced in partnership with MTM Standard Music Group, Georgia State University's student-run record label and sync house. Some portions of this program may be graded schoolwork for students in the College of the Arts. Opinions expressed do not necessarily reflect those of Album 88, MTM Standard, or the College of the Arts. For more information on our continued commitment to editorial independence in all of student media, please visit mtmstandard.com/WRAS. This has been your host, Wesley Barrett, with MTM Review on Album 88. See you on March 21st.